Hey everybody. Okay, sorry, I'm a tiny bit late. And I have to make sure that I'm actually streaming because I'm late, it likes to be very finicky. Oh, there's always problems. Well, not for you guys as much as for oh my god, I'm here. I can't even believe it. Like I was sure because I was a little bit late. Ugh. You guys, it makes me like there's so many moving parts that there are a lot of things that can go wrong. And I like to blame it on things that are like not my responsibility, but a lot of time it is my fault. Okay, Yarnitarian, episode 7. All things knitting, yarn, and fiber while high on flaming hot Cheetos and cheap American beer. You guys, I'm just going to tell you right now, this is R-rated. It's R like real. You're like, no, let's be honest, it's X-rated, which is my favorite. I'm just going to tell you, you know why? Because like the way that I explained it this weekend to my, the people that are in my classes. I have 3 classes going right now, live classes. They're 7-week courses. And of course, when I do stupid things, like I forget that I actually didn't schedule a class, then it ends up to be longer because there's that extra week break. Anyhow, but I explained it like this. I've been in this business a long time now. And when I first started, I'm everybody who ever meets me says that I'm the exact same person that they've like taken classes from for years, or that they've known or seen on YouTube or met, or I mean I'm the exact person. The difference is that I try to have, especially in the beginning, the first like 6 or 7 years, 8 years, I tried to have a lot of decorum and never like swear online, etc., because it's not appropriate. But what happens is that because I think we get desensitized from things like reality TV and just life in general, and the exposure online to various things, whether it's political or even you watch our politicians, that decorum is pretty much out. And this is not, I'm telling you right now, this is not a Republican or Democrat thing. This is both sides. Like the decorum is gone, and it doesn't matter who started it; it just is. So I think that what's happened is that it's probably slightly easier to be who you are. So that's not what I explained to them. What I explained to them was there are people that feel that they really know me, but they're really on. They're like on the inside. Like I know them. I know them by name. I like them. There's no question they could ask me that I wouldn't answer truthfully. I mean, anything personal, even I wouldn't. I mean, even if somebody that I didn't know, you could ask me the most personal question and I would answer you honestly. And if it was so personal, which I can't think of something that you could ask me that I wouldn't answer honestly, that I didn't feel comfortable, like let's say I thought that you were going to somehow use it against me and I just believed that you weren't doing it, you weren't asking me it sincerely, I would tell you that I didn't want to answer it. But I wouldn't lie to you. But so there was a large group of people, I would say the majority of people that would follow me, that they didn't realize that I swore because I was trying to have decorum. But that's not how I want to be. I just want to be myself. I just want to be who I am. So when people would come, and let's say they did like the VIP retreats or whatever, and they're staying in my home, like this is my home. So once you're in my home, like when I'm teaching you, actually during that time, because the VIP retreats is you come here and you stay in the Airbnbs, and you stay for, we pick you up at the airport, etc. And then I'll teach you whatever you want over the 2 days, whatever it is that you want to learn. And we feed you and you eat with us and things. So like when I'm teaching, obviously I have decorum, but afterwards, this is my home. You're in my home, and I'm going to be exactly who I am. And I really, after my daughter died, I realized that it's at this point, you know what? I'm old. I'm 56 years old, and I don't want to put on airs. It wasn't airs before. It wasn't putting on airs, but what it was trying to have a legitimate business. It's very difficult to build a following if you're just crass, and people, you don't want to give people a reason not to like you. And so the reality is the way that I talk here is the way that I talk. I'm not trying to be provocative. I'm not. It's just who I am. I mean, I am provocative. So I don't think it is. I don't think it's provocative. Other people find it provocative. So like if I swear or I talk about penises, which is my favorite thing, and since when did we like pretty much all men have one. I mean, I think that's arguably right. So Bobbitt, like what is his name? I don't know. I think he still has one. I'm not sure if it works anymore. Actually, I do think that that's a great punishment, though. You're like, wow, that's mean, but it is. But there's certainly some men that could deserve it. But anyhow, so my thing is that I don't want to do that anymore. You know, I'm, like I said, I'm 56. I've been in this business a long time, and now the people that loved me when I didn't swear and say the word penis should still love me, despite the fact that I say the word penis and the fact that I swear, because I'm the same Natalie. And like Catherine Rainey, she's a throwdown bitch. This one, she is. I think she lives in Texas. Anyway, I met her. She's a ball breaker. But she was my customer, and a ball breaking customer, I might add. Ball breaking customer. And she's taken a lot of classes of mine, but she's a highly intelligent woman and a really good businesswoman. But I met her when I was teaching at Plyway, and like she was said, because she's in my classes again, she's like, you know, like doing refreshers, and she was like, yeah, when you meet Natalie, she's the exact person that you know when she doesn't swear, but you just add some expletives in there and then some sexual content, and you know, that's pretty much all that's missing. But anyway, life is too short. And the other part is that I think we need to loosen up a little bit. We really do. We really need to loosen up. We need to, like, not be obsessed with it's not the words. I mean, words definitely matter. Let's be clear on that. Words definitely matter. But this is lighthearted. It's lighthearted, and I'm trying to teach you something, and I spend my Tuesday nights doing that, and you know, I'm teaching you about my life, and it's hard to. I'm not a comedian. I'm not a comedian, and so I just have to be me, or I won't want to do it. Like, I did Blog Talk for 2 years, and I was really good, you guys. Not good. Like, I'm not that I was great at what I did. I'm just saying I was really good about not swearing. And I had a lot of decorum. But you know, I was new to the industry, and I was just trying to put myself out there. And you know, you usually don't want to do something super outrageous, right? You want to kind of have a reputation first for at least being a decent human being, and I am a decent human being. I really am, despite the fact that sometimes people get the wrong side of me, and they will have done something, and I am swift. I'm swift in my disapproval. And I'm extraordinarily honest, which is very threatening. You're like, we don't really care. Could we just get on with this? Yes, we can. I just wanted to warn you. There's adult content in here. That was my point. If you have kids and you don't want them to hear you swearing, my kids hear me swearing. Do I feel bad about that? No, it's the reality. I actually used to, I'll never forget, my grandmother who went to parochial schools and was like, she was best friends with a magnet for my magnet, and she went to school with her, Adrian Spence. And so, I remember I didn't want my son, my first child, to play with this kid because I heard him swear. I think he said shit or something. And I mean, I swear like a truck driver, but I didn't want him hanging around an element in my mind of child that swore. And I was telling my grandmother that this kid wanted to play this kid. And we don't have kids in our neighborhood, but there was they were renting or something. And so it would be really cool for Connery to have this friend. And my grandmother, oh my God, and we're talking about someone who was a bit of a prude, and she was like a person, like, if I met somebody, I had to say, how do you do, and shake their hand. And like, I was like 13, and I remember thinking, I'm not a trick pony. Like, I remember really getting irritated, like somehow, like I felt like the man was putting me down, right? I really did, I hated it. And she was so worried about what people thought, but she actually told me that was the most ridiculous thing that I could say, and he's going to hear it somewhere, and and you have to teach them the right thing to do, not sequester them from the real world. And actually, it made a tremendous amount of sense to me. So consequently, I always swore in front of my children. And they've been in the office many times for swearing. That's not true. That's totally not true. I'm kidding. Although Roni got kicked out of Montessori, I tried to put him in Montessori. It didn't occur to me, because he was my fifth child, it didn't occur to me that the other ones I was going to Polly, like the three little ones, so there was Connery, and he was 9 when Jory was born, and then Jade was born a year later, and then Dana was born 2 years after that, and then Roni was born 4 years after that. The other kids were at Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, when I was getting my master's, so they were integrated into, like, you know, preschool. But Roni wasn't. He was here, and it didn't really occur to me until he was like 4 that he didn't go to preschool, and that I'm not this parent that is going to be like, okay, this is a Y. Okay, now let's say our ABCs. This is the kind of thing I do. I say, that's an alpaca. Do you know why? No. Well, look at the ears. That's the kind of thing. And then I like put him on the tractor, and then I explain the tractor, and then I explain to him how do you tell the difference between a goat and a sheep. And, you know, I teach him about, you know, they have a 4-chambered stomach, and we have, you know, we don't have 4 chambers. And I'm teaching him like things on the farm. I'm not teaching him, like, I could give a shit about like whether or not he could write his name at 4, because I know that that's what he's going to learn in school, right? But I take him to Montessori, and it was within the first week. He's only there a couple days. And they called and they said, Mrs. Redding, we have some parents complaining about your son Roni. And I was like, how could anybody complain about Roni? First of all, he's like a miniature child, like he's like literally a miniature child, and he's really malleable and very, very sweet. And they said, well, he was talking about his mother killing the black chicken. And I said, well, I did kill the black chicken. It was a rooster, and it kept attacking them. So I killed the black chicken. Well, the word kill, yeah, is a problem. They said the word kill is a problem. I said, but I killed it. I didn't say I euthanized it. He's 4. I killed it because it was a Jersey Giant or something. It was huge. It was like a huge chicken. Huge, and it like had spurs, and every time it would attack them, and so I like had just about enough of it. Not even just about enough. I had enough of it, and I killed it. I just wrung its neck, and so and they were very upset, and they're one of the parents weren't going to send their daughter there anymore because Roni said the word kill, and I was like, you know what? I don't want my son to go there anymore. We'll pick him up in 15 minutes. And that was last of Montessori. And so then he started kindergarten. And at the school that all of my children have went to. And so they've had 4 weddings beforehand. And so one of the teachers, and it was a teacher that I don't know, and she wrote me and she said she was concerned because Roni didn't know how to write his name. He didn't know how to count. He didn't know his alphabet and all the things he didn't know. I got so pissed off. I wrote her all the things. I said, you know what? He doesn't know those things, but let me tell you what he does know. And I just went through all the things, the medicines that he knows, and all of the things. I said, he knows how to shift a tractor. I just went through it. He knows the difference between an alpaca and a llama. He knows what a ruminant is. I just went through all these things, and I said, and I'm going to tell you something. By the time January's here, not only will my son know that, but he's going to know that and more, and you're not even going to notice a deficit just because like these PSAs that they used to have about make your child successful in life, put them in preschool, which was bullshit, and they have proven that, by the way. I said I was so offended, and I was offended by the insinuate, because it made me feel like a bad mother. Like I might be a bad mother, but I'm not a bad mother because I didn't sit there with my kids with cue cards when I'm trying to be a farmer and work and like make a living, right? And so she actually wrote me a letter of apology in January. And she said he is like so like he's like past. He's like so she said you were right, and I didn't actually know that. I didn't know that could possibly be. I thought that because he didn't know, there was no way he could catch up. And I was like, their little minds, I mean, the synapses, they're just firing, and they're growing, and like that's just it's something that it's just propaganda. I mean, I hate to be like a conspiracy theorist, but it really was. There's reasons. If a child has been exposed to those things and they don't know them, then yes, there's a problem. But my child hadn't been exposed to them. Nobody had been teaching it to him. I've been teaching him important things in my mind. Important things. The other shit's gonna come. I mean, how many kids that are intelligent that don't have a learning disability that are in an educated family and go to school don't know their ABCs by the time they're in the 3rd grade? Well, probably not very many. I wasn't too worried. You're like, God, Natalie, you don't talk about your kids very much, but wow, I actually don't really talk about my kids that much. But that was, I think, a germane story. Germane to what? I have no idea. You're like, oh, you guys, you know what I did? I gave myself a goose egg right here. Right before I came here, I was grabbing this belt and I pulled it, but it's okay. They make like elastic belts now. Like when I was young, we didn't have those, like elastic in the back and then it was like leather in the front or patent leather. Well, of course, so I just pulled it because I wanted it, and it freaking ricocheted and hit me right in the eye. So I was like, I have a goose egg. It's so great. I'm going to have a black eye tomorrow. Hi, you guys. It's so great to see you. Or not see you because I don't have my glasses on. Oh, Sony says, I'm like Papa, I am what I am, and that's all that I am. I like it. And then Nancy says, does someone have a problem with who you are? Yes. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And then she says, I love you for who you are. Fuck yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Nancy. And once again, Nancy's 4'10". I think maybe 11. She's out of a car seat because I think she's my age. She's like, stop saying that. I know, I can't help it. I can't help myself because I think, I don't know. Because I think 4'10", you're supposed to be in the car seat. Okay, let's see. Your stories are so entertaining. Renee's Crochet Designs. Thank you so much. Hi, Kent. Cheers. And then Ms. Shelley says, those are probably the same people who think meat comes with a... Yeah, I know. I know. Let's see. Show Amber. Hooray for penis. I know. I have to agree with you on that one. And then Cynthia says meeting others' expectations versus being who you are in your natural habitat. Yeah, that is true. Like in my home, this is my habitat. I mean, and the thing is that I think you know how people will say you shouldn't care what other people think. That's ridiculous. Of course we care what other people think. I don't want to, but if I didn't, wouldn't I be a narcissist? Isolationist? Not obviously politically, like globally, right? But I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I mean, you have to be considerate, and obviously you care, right? And I actually was talking to a friend today, and I said, I remember when I would break up with somebody, and I'm not a people pleaser, but there's something, most of us have some daddy issues or something, some issue, right? Abandonment issues. Okay, let's just say it's not daddy issues. I don't, daddy issues, but most of my friends have daddy issues, or they were molested or something, not by their father necessarily, some by their father, but, some issue relating to men where, they're people pleasers towards men. That's not who I am. However, I can't stand to have them, I'd break up with them, but I couldn't stand to have them not like me. But of course they're not going to like me. I broke up with them, right? It was the weirdest feeling. It was the weirdest feeling to be like, I'm going to break up with them, but please don't dislike me, even though I'm not a people pleaser. It was directly related to them being a man and me not wanting to be disapproved by, I guess some of my identity was based on men being attracted to me, even when I was young, very, very young. I'm talking like 19, 20 years old. And just the thought of them, me not appealing to them or something was horrifying. And to be honest with you, I don't think I've grown up much. Like I really don't. I think I still have that, and I hate it, and I wish I would get rid of it. And I guess the idea is, but I don't know how much we can really change. I don't. You guys, I'm interested for you guys to weigh in, because I don't know how much at my age you can change. I think we kind of I think it's different if you're a substance abuser, definitely, because there's a whole nother aspect of your life that you haven't tapped into. So I think that if you're a substance abuser, there is the ability to change and to grow, because I think whatever traumatic, I don't know this to be true, I'm not a psychologist. Like, really? Yeah, we knew that. But I think that whatever part of your life you were stunted, and or what some traumatic event happened, you ceased to grow in that area. And so a lot of those, I see it in my own son who's in recovery. I see him, like, he uses the word process. Like, I know that that's a common word now, but before I knew somebody that was in recovery, I didn't even think of the word process. I need to process this. But we all have to process things, right? Whether it's like, whatever it is, it could even be just your boss getting mad at you or a customer being angry. You have to process what it is that's upsetting you or bothering you about it. Is it that you're, that you think that they truly are, unreasonable? And how do I deal with the fact that I can't please everybody? Or is it that I actually didn't do my due diligence and I'm upset with myself, right? So Connery will use this this term a lot, this processing. But his processing, because he's been in recovery 2 years and he's young still. He's 27. His processing could be over something like as simple as, I don't really like chili. I think I'm going to have to process that. And I'm just like, yeah, there's a lot of things to process. I don't know. Disliking chili might not be one of them. Like, I don't know. It's like a newfound, like, I don't know. It's a newfound thing, and he's going to have to explore every avenue of that. Anyway, I'm going to read what you guys are saying, because I do want to know. My goose egg went down. I kept pushing on it because I was like, it really looks stupid. Like, I have this. Hi, Amber and Angel and Jen Eddington. Stinking hot Tasmanian. Jen, I had my first Coriadel today. Not first Coriadel ever. First lamb of the year was a Cory. Those stinkers like to single. They have a lot of singles. Big udders, though, like cow udders. So I have an Airbnb guest here today, and my son told me, hey, Mom, you know that the lamb was born. And I give everybody colostrum. Everybody, I milk. And the thing is that I don't know if you guys know this. People that don't have ruminants or have had ruminants or been on a farm don't know that you can ruin their udders if you milk them wrong. Like if you grab at the top and you put a bunch of, you like squeeze at the top, so that you guys are like, do we really have? Yes, I'm teaching something. So the way the udder, so then they have, you know, the udder, and then they have the teat. If you grab a pie and you push too much, squeeze too much milk into the teat, you'll stretch it. You'll stretch it, and then the lamb can't get their mouth over it, and then they'll end up getting mastitis. So mastitis is an infection of the mammary tissue, and it can become necrotic, and it's called blue bag, and I mean gangrene. Like, it's bad. And by the time you know that there's something wrong, the lamb's starving to death, and the ewe is going to lose at least half of her udder. It's really bad, but ruminants are amazing. They can wall off infection. So she's acting kind of normal. She's just not running, maybe. Like, you look and you notice she's not moving super fast, but it might be, you think, it might be just because she's bagged up. She's got a big bag, like her you know, her udder's big. You can't really see because they've got wool, but you know, but anyway, it's like, anyway, so Sean Connery told me that this ewe has mastitis, and they can get mastitis even before they've lambed, because like the dogs can you know, accidentally grab their teat. It, you know, happens, or you know, for a multitude of reasons. But anyhow, so I was worried that she had mastitis, and there's an Airbnb here that said to Sean, because I do these Airbnb experiences, but I'm not doing them now, and they are a pain in the ass, but I do it because I want to promote agriculture to the city people, and teach them that, you know, meat products aren't mean, and that, you know, wool isn't mean. What's mean are bad producers, you know, and bad employees that like put, you know, down cows, you know, and, you know, kick them. And I mean, we just have to you know, make you know, hold producers to a standard, right, which is reasonable, but out banning products is not the answer. Anyway, she wanted to do an Airbnb experience, and I of course got irritated. My husband, I'm like, I am busy, like I don't have time for this, you know. But then I was like, actually I could use her help. So thankfully she has almost the same size foot as me, so I had some boots for her because it's muddy out there, and so I gave her some boots and she helped me. You guys are like, wow, we didn't really give a shit, not even close to give a shit. But it was really cool because I had someone that really wanted to learn and really wanted to participate, and that's really cool because you could really change the way that their outlook, especially in California, where there was some legislation that was just passed. I want to say it was Proposition 12. It's kind of a big deal. I didn't know it was a big deal, but it's the way that people produce veal, which I actually am not I won't eat veal because of I'm kind of, I really don't like the whole spirit behind it. But poultry and pork. And so everybody who sells to California also has to have these same standards. Fortunately, the standards aren't made by farmers or the USDA. The standards are made by the Humane Society, who really doesn't want anyone to eat any animals. So, you know, there goes our food animals. And the sad part about that is the discussion about food animals should have happened 200 or something years ago when we were domesticating, you know, like really selective. Obviously they were domesticated before that, but when we were selectively breeding and making them so incredibly, you know, narrow in their ability to do anything except for what we want them to do, right? They're so specialized that it's not like we can just go, oh, we're not going to drink milk anymore. Let's just turn all the dairy cows out, you know? I mean, that's just like mastitis. Like, I mean, the amount of milk that they produce, they must be milked. I mean, you can't take these animals. You can't take my Sebastopol geese that are white and, you know, flightless and have these curly feathers and just decide to do, let's just let them go. I mean, they will last about 2.5 seconds, you know, once a coyote walks by or a bobcat or it's too late. The conversation's over. It's about now. It's about really just ethical treatment, ethical production. You're like, we don't really want to hear this anymore. We're tired of you talking about veganism and you know, you naysayer, Natalie. Hindgut digesters we are. Sorry, you're like, I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay, Susie Q and Bridget. Sorry, did I say Angel already? I did. Liz. Oh my gosh, Miss Dahlia and Christine. Christine, make sure you go over there. Christine, I'm going to give you a present. She's like, love presents. Please keep going over to Facebook, on YouTube, and not YouTube. You're so stupid. I mean, it's just, you know, go over to the Reading Method page, and I'm gonna. You have to tell me what you want though. You want a picture of Scrappy? I just know it. I know you don't. You want fiber? You can have fiber. You just have to tell me what you want, and I'll send it to you. And Allison, hello from Frozen, Iowa. Today was kind of cold here too. Ms. Shelley, hey everyone. And I sent your stuff out. It did go out yesterday. And North Vancouver, Rave On Studio, logging on early because I have class tonight. Oh, selfish, I want to get my name in the Oh, Rave On Studio, your name will be in a draw. And Diana, I did say Allison. I just want to make sure that I hit you guys. Hit you. Let's see, Stephanie and Sandy's Glass Shack. Vien. What meat doesn't come from the grocery store? I know. And then she is saying that she's killed 3 nasty roosters. Hey, I'm telling you, when they're attacking, like I have one rooster. I don't know why he won't die. I don't. He's like 6 or 7 years old, and he attack every time I bend down and I'm in that area. He attacks my head. Let's see. And then Sandy Dukeshire, who is a very talented glass artist, which I really want to learn how to do that, Sandy. Sandy, I found another, okay, so you guys, I'm sorry, I have an obsession with, rondelle, or, also known as bullseye glass, crown. It's also called, crown. What is it called? The other name? It's crown something glass. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's like, looks like bottle, but the bottom, there's one on eBay right now for $1,400. It is so beautiful, but I've been looking for 20 years for a door that was nothing but the rondelles, these rondelles. I'm not looking for the current rondelles. I'm looking for the ones that are like from the 1800s. I've seen one time an entire door of nothing but rondelles. It was the most exquisite thing, and this guy had it in like he had like it in like a, what it was, like a man cave kind of thing, and I wanted it so badly, and he just like, and that was before like the internet really was popping, like, so you didn't really know how rare things were. Like, I figured I could probably find one. Yeah, right. But anyway, I ended up finding 2 transom windows that were matching. They're not matching in the colors of the glass, but they're matching in the size and perfect condition. They're not cracked or anything, and they've been restored. But I got an alert that there was one for $14, and those were $500 each. So that was $1,000. You're like, well, your addition is amazing. Anyway, and I almost just put it on PayPal credit. It's really hard for me not to. It's really hard for me not to because they're exquisite. They're exquisite. And because I have Airbnbs, and I have a guy that can, you guys are like, why are we talking about this? Isn't this about yarn? It's about farm stuff too. Let me have my moment. Anyway, I can have them just like these. There's stained glass windows in here. And this is just a shed. This is like literally a shed. And if I was in Iowa or Vancouver, I'd be freezing my petunia, which I wouldn't really, because I have this, you guys, like, I am such a rebel. They sell these propane heaters everywhere but California. So I went to order one, hoping that they wouldn't have like a control on it. I think it was Home Depot, and it was like, cannot ship to California. I was like, well, fine, let me try Amazon. And Amazon shipped it. I was like, thank you. You're like, Natalie, they just wanted to save your life. But they are indoor safe, but apparently people in California will die from them. I'm telling you, California, it actually should be its own country. The people are so crazy. You can't buy vaccine. It's just these. I can't even go into the things. It's my state. I'm a native Californian, and I feel like it's not the native Californians that are the crazy people. It's the people that keep migrating here, not immigrating. I mean migrating from other states. Actually, they just did a thing, and Caucasians now are a minority in California, which it has nothing to do with anything. But I'm telling you, it's the people, I'm sure, that are from the East Coast, a lot of East Coast states that want, they think that this is like, and people in like LA are weird, man. They wear weird costumes, and like, I mean, they defecate in the street. Not everybody. You're like, really? In Beverly Hills, they defecate in the street? No, they like defecate in the street. Their policies, and the same thing in San Francisco. You can be in San Francisco nude as long as you have a towel. My swearing is nothing compared to defecating in the street. I'm sorry. Okay. Christine, roosters can be mean bastards. Yes, they can. And then Liz says, I love hearing about the farm animals. And Paula, hi Paula. Paula's in New Zealand. Paula, I know. Okay, my God, you guys, Paula, was it insane? Paula ordered shampoo from me. Which, first of all, I didn't realize until like 8 months later when I get a note from her. My hair has static. I apologize. It's driving me crazy because it's sticking to my face. I got a note, I got a note from Customs, And Customs wanted like the toxicol, like all of this shit. These papers, like the MSDS sheet, and then the how it was transported, and I mean, they wanted so much crap. I can't even tell you. It was absurd the amount of stuff that they wanted in New Zealand. I'm like, no wonder you only have 3 million, a population of like 3 million. Like, I was shocked at the amount of stuff. So I couldn't even produce the stuff they wanted. So what does any smart American woman do when somebody's paid $80 for it? And like, I can't remember, don't know how much shipping, Paul. I just made it up and photoshopped it. I had to. I didn't know what they were asking for. So I just got a like product and then just did it. I had, because it was either that after 8 months. This woman had been waiting like 8 months. Paul, wasn't it? It was like 8 months. She's going to say no, it was like 3. Well, it felt like 8. You guys are like, whatever. I'm going to look. I think it was. It was a long, long time for her to get that. You can be naked in Vermont as long as you come out of the house naked. Speaking of oh, love it heaps. Thank you, Paula. And then those windows are beautiful. Thank you. And Sandy, so I should send you a picture. I should send you a picture of the one that I really want to buy, and I'm afraid actually to look to see if it's taken. It's do you like, I have like a stammer, but it's not a stammer. But I noticed, because I have a friend who has, it's like I feel like we're mimicking each other, because my friend will have a stammer and then I start stammering, but it's just a natural, it's like I think it's an idiosyncrasy. It's not like a true stammer. It's like your brain is thinking too fast, and I don't know. Plus, it's a delay tactic. Like, I don't have to give you the next thought until I finish stammering. Okay, let's see. Stephanie, hi. I love that I joined the conversation just as you start talking about pooping in the streets. Hey, we're going to hit it all, baby. If it's not penises, it's going to be pooping in the streets. But it is true. They really do. They really do defecate in the street. It's the most nutty thing. I'm telling you, the whole California has gone stark raving mad. I don't know what happened. I mean, I do remember my mother being arrested for marijuana when I was young, and it was like a big deal because my dad was a teacher. And this is in the 70s. And what had happened was she had a cleaning lady, and the cleaning lady found like a bag of, like, it was just leaf. I do remember this giant bag of leaf. She found a giant bag of leaf and called the police. But my mother worked for Bob Peterson, who was an attorney. And she was a paralegal. So even though it was like really humiliating for my dad as a teacher, they didn't fire him. She was able to get out of trouble. But I remember it was very scandalous. It's very scandalous. And I remember like feeling really uncomfortable. I remember one time, my dad's a big man. He's 6'3", which isn't that big, I guess, if you're 6'8", but 6'3" weighs like 225, super athletic. And I remember they used to have people over for dinner all the time, and him and one of the guests got in a fist fight. And my father is very articulate. He's very articulate. And the level of anger, I remember as a child being so afraid at the level of anger that two men could have, and just the fear. I'm sure someone's experienced that as a child, the level of fear, whether it's like if it's a parent, your mother being abused, or, whatever, or your father being abused. But that imprinted me forever. That anger, really the fear of male anger. Not that I won't provoke it, let me tell you, and stand up to them, but it's very fearful. I get very fearful, but they don't know. Washington's the same way. It's been taken over by crazy. I know. Hello, Mary. It's the heroin epidemic. Is it really? Sherilyn. Stories, love. Thank you so much. It's the heroin epidemic. That's interesting. Yeah. That's really, I actually, what I kind of am thinking, I'm not sure if the etiology of heroin addiction, we really know. I don't, no. I'm not saying we don't know, the general public. I'm not sure the politicians really know. This is the hard thing about politics, is that it's very difficult to figure out whether or not they're saying it because it's politically beneficial or it's real. And the two actually don't seem to be congruent. I feel like it's in vogue. It's like a marketing strategy to say that heroin comes from opiates. And I really tremendously resent that because I happen to take opiates because I have, osteoarthritis in my neck and congenital spinal stenosis in my C-spine. And, I've been tossed on my head many times galloping racehorses. And I've never taken more than, I've been taking them forever and I've never abused them. I think that substance abuse is a problem, but I don't like to think that the etiology is I don't. I think that the etiology is like that people have problems and are trying to self-medicate and make themselves feel better. I don't like, I really, and I don't like the idea that the government tries to tell the doctors how to take care of their patients. Like I have this tooth thing, right? I still have this tooth thing. So the other night, remember my tooth was hurting really bad? Well, it's because there's a loose filling, and then in front of it, which I had that fixed, but in front of it, I have a tooth that has a filling, but it needs a root canal. And they gave me painkillers until they could fix it, which they can't fix it until the 29th. And I don't really need painkillers, but you take them, you get them just so that you can have them if something else happens. And they gave me ibuprofen. I started laughing. Like, yeah, thank you. I could have bought that at the store. Don't get me excited and then be like, denied. It's like, are you kidding me? And actually, the funny thing is that was at Indian Health. And of course, we all know that, it's one of the things that they say is that the American Indian population has problems with substance. Well, who doesn't? Quite frankly, nationality, we all have problems, right? And then I went to this place that does implants, and they said, well, what did they give you? And I said, they gave me ibuprofen and amoxicillin. And they said, oh, ibuprofen? Like, how's that going to help you? I said, yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but I have pills, so it's okay. But I mean, seriously, makes them feel better. It doesn't make me feel better. But anyway, moving on. Okay, let me read this. And Mary, hi, Carol. And then Ms. Shelley is saying Washington is definitely a heroin problem. Even the upper class is suffering from it. Okay, but the etiology, I don't know. I think it's just substance abuse, and it makes you feel. Opiates make you feel better. They just do. I mean, they hit your pleasure center. And then Sandy said she sent us a picture of a nice store that needed the rondelles. Yeah, but that was like, the thing was, I want one that's the whole thing is rondelles. You're like, yeah, because you want things that are special. That in my head, the whole thing has to be rondelles. Totally love them. And then Cynthia's saying fentanyl deaths are mostly from the black market fentanyl, not prescription use. It's rarely reported that way. I see, Cynthia. I'm with you on this. And the fentanyl thing. This is the thing too. Like I was reading about. I was watching a National Geographic thing on. This is when I actually had cable, except for porn and one news channel and Investigation Discovery, and it was talking about how it like messes with your bladder. It messes with your bladder if you take it, right? No. Yes. No. There's another one. It is with the P. It starts with a P. It's a horse tranquilizer. Scratch off what I said. I actually know someone who takes fentanyl. I mean, fentanyl patches. You're like, okay, so basically we could just erase that whole segment. If we weren't live, I would. Oh, in perpetuity. Okay, moving on. What is the one? Never mind. Let's see. Kent saying heroin is cheaper than Oxy. Okay. Yeah, because aren't they like $8 a pill or something? I don't know. You're like, why have you been buying them? No, I think I saw that somewhere, read that somewhere. And then Jen Eddings says, I think prescription and over-counter meds are way more abused than the illegal drugs. I don't know if that's true in our country. You're in Tasmania. I don't know. I don't know the statistically speaking, but I mean, can we even trust statistics? I'm telling you, like, someone was telling me about a study today, and the first thing I did is I said, I want to see the statistics. I want to see the study, how sound the studies. I just anymore, I want to see those studies. I want to see how many participants were in it. If it was double blind, I want to see, because there's just so much fake bullshit. That's propaganda. And the thing is that we should know. I mean, the early Greeks did it. We should know from them, that this is just something that's very powerful. Disinformation is very powerful. And then Andrea is saying, never know what will come out of your mouth next. Either do I. I love your frankness. Actually, I do. Believe it or not, just to let you know, like some people don't have a filter. Some people don't have a filter because they don't have any self-control. I don't have a filter because I choose not to. It actually, I know what's coming out of my mouth, believe it or not. And there's this thing that I think, now think about this, I'm going to get really deep here. So this is big. Okay. If somebody can change the way that I'm speaking or what I'm about to say, I feel manipulated. So if I'm afraid that you're not going to like me, or that what I'm about to say is inflammatory, and you won't understand it, rather than look at it from the perspective of just an objective observer, then I'm manipulated into not being who I am, or I'm shamed. I'm shamed. And the one thing that I'll tell you is, like, whether it's sex or whatever, I will not be shamed. I will not be shamed. And that's just, shame is a killer of happiness. Like embarrassment and shame, the worst thing somebody could do to me is humiliate me. That really is, for me, humiliation, is, there's just something about that. I mean, obviously everybody has like a different threshold for what really deeply wounds them. But shame for me is one of them that deeply wounds me. And so I will confront fear head on. And that's the other thing I want to say. Okay, so for the people that like and the people still want to love me. There's people that don't like, this me, all of me. They want this other part of me, but they would like me to not be this other section. And I said, what's wrong with not being comfortable? Because quite frankly, not being comfortable is a good thing. I don't mean not being comfortable like I'm really freezing cold and I think that the sheets in this hotel smell weird. That's different. That's a different kind of uncomfortable that I wouldn't tolerate. But that feeling of like, I don't really like this. I'm not sure. I'm unsure. Like feels like I just don't know if I'm okay with this. That actually is a good thing. Like, I think that we try to be comfortable way too much. And I think you can learn, and I'm really into this thing of confronting your fears, like taking your fears and things that, and trying to, like how Connery, I said, processes things, trying to process why it's making you uncomfortable. Like if I'm talking about penises, or if I say fuck, why does that make you feel uncomfortable? Is it because it's not the image that you think I should have, or were you taught that was bad? Like what exactly is that? Because it's not germane to my relationship with you. It's not. It's a form of expression. I'm talking about, the way I feel about things and my life, and I'm using my forms of expression. And to be honest with you, swearing, and there's been studies, people who swear are typically more honest, and people and also swearing and like grunting, etc. We all think because of Lamaze, etc. You're not supposed to grunt because you lose your power, like when you're having a baby. And let me just tell you, like when I have babies, my body just takes over, and there's it pushes. Like there's no not pushing, it just does it. It's just doing it, so they can tell me all they want not to push, and my body's just like, go fuck yourself, right? And then the baby comes perfectly, right? My body knows what to do. They don't know. They think they know better than my uterus. But my uterus is just on its own program. And the whole thing is that I don't know. I just think that people in general are just they're too worried about stuff. They really are. They're just too worried about stuff. And I think that we need to just not sweat the little stuff. Really, we need to not sweat the little stuff, and we need to just accept that, and also investigate what it is about someone that it's bothering us. And a lot of the time, it actually has everything to do with us personally, not the person. Like it reminds you of somebody, or it was beaten into your head that people, your idea of what a good person is, those kind of people, and that's very biased. And nobody wants to be called biased. Nobody wants to be called biased or closed-minded. And so if you love the person, then you should love everything about them. And in the childbirth thing, swearing actually makes you strong. When people grunt, and it does make you stronger. So it's like all the whole thing with the childbirth is it's just a lie. It's a fallacy. So I don't know who, and even the Scientologists, they're like all about quiet births. It's like, obviously a man made that rule, because I'm going to tell you, natural childbirth is not quiet because it hurts. Just like that, baby. Just like that. You're like, well, that was sexual. Just like that, baby. Just like that. Come on, daddy. Okay. So I'm reading. I'm sorry, I have to go back. I'm sorry, I have to go so far up, you guys. Okay. I say, so here we are. Kent, hi. Once again, Kent, hi. And he said that heroin is cheaper than oxy, and I think prescription over abuse than illegals, but I didn't know that fact because she's in Tasmania. Never know. Okay, yes, we did that one. Useless fact for today: Tasmania grows most of the world's legal codeine. Really? So does that mean they grow because codeine's from? Isn't that from the opium poppy? Suzuki, they do make you feel better. Yes, heroin is evil. Yes, it is. I want to have the time to conduct the study. Yes, I agree. I'm with you on that one. We should do it together. Statistics can be manipulated completely. So much disinformation. It's frustrating because I'm a truth seeker. I am too, Liz. And that's the thing, is there's a difference between disinformation is purposefully putting bad information out there with the intention of deceiving people. That's disinformation. And Bridget says, not everybody becomes an addict. It all depends on what's nasty you're targeted with. Take on drugs. When I take an opiate, I vomit. It does not hit my happy snap. Oh, that's interesting. Lucky you. And then shame is awful. Stephanie, a killer of the soul. I mean, you and I are total soulmates on that one. Shame is a killer of the soul. And you guys, for those of you who don't know what we're saying, I'm telling you, there's a layer that you would get to if you investigated. There's a layer that you would get to that would teach you that you would see how much shame. Okay, because so my husband is he's very highly intelligent, but he wants everything simple. He doesn't want to have to peel back a bunch of onions to get to. So if I say, well, what do you think? Why do you think you feel that way? Because I do. I'm like, that's not an answer. I mean, what is it about the situation that makes you feel that way? It makes me feel that way. There are some people that and he cares about the fact that he feels that way. He doesn't give a shit how he got there or how many layers are, or even trying to figure out what it is about this emotion that's bothering him. Where I actually think it does matter, because I think once you do it, once you can figure it out and you can make the logical steps of how you got there, and that usually it always goes to fear, that you suddenly blow it up. It no longer has its power. Like, it's almost like it's demystifying it. It's scary as long as you don't know the etiology, but once you know the etiology and exactly what you're feeling, you can recognize when you start to feel it, and you can go, okay, here we go. Okay, a perfect example is my friend Leah. I'm sure she loves me talking about her right now. She's amazing. She's a veterinarian, and she has really problems in love. She does, and she's highly intelligent, very, very nice, extraordinarily nice, dad issues, and picks really shitty guys, and all she wants to do is be married. Like, all she wants to do is be married. And I told her, Leah, you have to understand, like Eckhart Tolle calls it a pain body. And what happens is every time you feel that feeling that makes you want to be with them, like, oh, you get excited, oh, this might be the one, that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. Because it's the one that always gets you in. It like hooks you. And if you keep doing that same thing and reacting to that pain body, whatever it is, and you don't figure out what the pain body is and be able to recognize it, it's just going to be Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day. And it's been Groundhog Day. She's 37 now. So it's been Groundhog Day. So it's like you have to, like, to get rid of it, you have to really figure it out. And then you can start to, okay, I know this feeling. This means an asshole is about to, I'm about to invite an asshole into my life. Why don't I try and pick one that doesn't make me feel quite so good? Because that's probably a good thing. Because it's hitting that pain body. And if you hit the pain body, it's like hitting the pleasure button. It feels familiar, and for some bizarre reason, even though it's not the right thing, we go for it in the pain body. You're like, please don't get so philosophical. Can't we talk about yarn? No, it's not time yet. Nancy says her pipes froze yesterday. And Andrea lost power. That sucks. And then Crystal says, I keep trying to watch your vlogs, but usually only get to see bits and pieces. Why? Penny says, I had my kids in natural and the whole clinic. I know. You know what I love? I love this too. So I've had, there's a couple of mine at home. A couple were at the hospital, even though it was natural. And I love that the nurses come in. They're like, you're disturbing the person next door. I'm like, really? Because the person next door has an... right? Because then you start having a contraction. You're like, the person next door has an epidural and I don't. So I don't want to hear it. How about that? I am not nice. Because I don't want to be in the hospital. I'm only there because, like, when I had a placenta previa and I wouldn't have a C-section. And they thought, and my doctor, I got rid of the doctor. He said, that is so irresponsible. It was a partial previa. And I went to Mary Birch, Sharp Mary Birch, and to the specialist, and I told them what the doctor said, because he sent me there. And they said, they can shift. Why is he saying that to you? The prudent thing is you have an emergency room ready just in case something happens, and you have the baby the way you want. It's that simple. I mean, I'm just telling you, like, the whole... And I love men. So I'm not trying to be down on men, but I will tell you that when it comes to reproduction, I just sometimes feel like they should shut the fuck up. Not about their own reproduction, but about mine. Just shut up. I don't want to hear it. Unless you're going to say something positive, then I like you. Isn't that the way it always is, though? Say what I want to hear. Okay, let's see. Let's see. And then Jen, Eddie, and then, let's see. Jen said, yes, opium poppies are surrounded by acres of them. Oh my God. Well, I'm coming to Tasmania. And Christine says, I understand exactly about the shame. I know, Christine, I'm telling you. And I sometimes get mad at my husband because he heavy sighs. It's a thing. He doesn't mean to do it, but he doesn't mean to do it. But it's very passive aggressive. Like, and so for the longest time he would deny doing it, but I would catch him right there. I'm gonna videotape it. But that feels like shame. It feels like shame. It's disappointment at you, right? And he'll say, I'm not disappointed at you. I'm just tired, right? Which then you're just like, okay, can we just? You're like, wow, is Sean in trouble tonight? No, I love my husband tremendously, but I'm just articulating it through the use of an example, and I could pretend that his name wasn't Sean, and I could say it was an ex-boyfriend of mine. But it's just easier for me to just say the truth, because if I tell the story again, you're going to be like, really? Because I thought she said it was Bobby last time, the guy that pulled lumber on the green chain. So I may as well I just want to stick with the truth. Let's just stick with the truth. And then Amber's saying she agrees. And then Michelle saying, nurses told me to go to my happy place, so I started shouting out different foods. And the nurses about peed their pants out. That is really funny. Wait, different foods? Go to my happy place, different foods? Mine would be hot tamales, Flamin' hot Cheetos, milk duds, all the things that fucked up my teeth. Well, not the Cheetos, but the other things. My teeth are so bad right now, you guys. I mean, honestly, it's a cesspool in there. I thought I took, you're like, yeah, you really do take good, I take good care of my mouth. It's just my teeth I don't take good care of. That made no sense. Shh. Don't ask questions. Just go with it. Okay. I don't have my cards. Wait. Wait. Let me look at the thing. I don't have my cards. You guys, I didn't make them. Okay. First of all, I have to read because I couldn't even remember, even though I wrote it like 10 minutes ago. Okay, you guys. So, Kristen was telling me that, we need to do the knit along because it was supposed to happen. Not supposed to. It's not late. We talked about this. Like, there were crochet people that wanted to do a knitting hub. But what I thought is, you don't have to buy a scrap box or anything. But I was going to do a scrap box where it would be. My favorite one actually is the scrap box where it's mixed together, like it's just a bunch of different colors with black as the base, and you can either card it. But I don't know how many of you guys make, if everybody makes their own yarn, but if you make your own yarn and you card it too much, it just looks like dryer lint. But if it has a black base and a bunch of colors and you just use it, the yarn turns out so, I call it kitchen sink because everything's in it, but it looks so good. And then you would have a black base yarn. So you'd have a black base, and then you would only need like 40 yards of a handspun yarn. And so I was going to show you, and I haven't done this in a while, so because people that don't make their own yarn, let's see, I wanted to show you. You're like, what could you possibly show us that we care about? So I'm not going to show. Okay, so it's stupid. It's stupid. So my girlfriend Jenny, she has a friend, because she's with the flight attendant, Jenny. Oh my God, you guys, the guy that I said was a dick. Okay, I have to bring this up before I show you what I'm going to show you. What I realized when I was talking to him on the phone, and he's like, yeah, well, I mean, why would I even, if I don't even really like her that much, why would I even go out with somebody who smoked? That guy, Richard, dick. Anyway, so I actually kind of heard in his voice where I felt like he was feeling unappreciated and like he was kind of butthurt by her. And so he was kind of like lashing out to me about her. And I didn't like it. I didn't like any of it. And so where I thought he was emotionally intelligent and really in tune with his emotions, at one point I suddenly didn't like him anymore, because I realized this could be a really bad thing for Jenny, where when he doesn't get when he doesn't feel like he's getting his needs met, or he doesn't understand something, he's going to lash out. So I actually was kind of happy that this dick, wasn't going to be with her, because he basically said he wasn't interested. So then I get a message from him, and he says, oh, by the way, I went to Huntington Beach and spent some time with Jenny. All's good now. So now they might be dating. I haven't talked to her, but I want to be like, I'm going to have to tell her, okay, remember when I was like, you know what, you might, want to try and be a little bit not so frigid. See, because that was the message. So between I was saying that she was frigid to talking to him, and then he was just a dick. I didn't talk, I didn't talk to her saying he was a dick. So I think she still thinks that the whole problem was that she was seeming like she was frigid or something, and she was cold. I mean, she can be really standoffish and very ice princess-ish. But so now I'm afraid like she took my advice, and that's why he's liking her now. So I'll have to give you episode 4 next week. Wait, let me see. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, wait. Let me talk about this. Let me go. This is really important, you guys. Okie dokie. Who doesn't love the buffet? Actually, I gotta be honest with you. Probably don't. Not that I haven't been to them. Crystal says, I feel so much shame because I have of the meds. Stop it. I take them for PTSD, depression and anxiety. I hate taking them and I feel so shame. Stop it. Stop it. Crystal, stop it. Do not feel shame. I'm going to tell you, what's shameful? Is living a life. Okay, like that is a no-win situation right there. Because let me just tell you this. Your life without meds sucks. So then you get meds and now it sucks because you're ashamed that you take meds. Whoever's shamed you into thinking that meds are bad, I want you to know that's silly. I wish that my son would get on meds, but he won't. He won't, because because when people have bipolar disorder, they often they don't like that the mania to go away. They don't feel creative, and so consequently he can't live a functional life. It's functional to him, but he doesn't have a lot of interpersonal relationships. He has a hard time holding a job. He doesn't get fired, but he'll just quit. And he's brilliant. I mean, we thought he could have been president. I'm not kidding you. That's what we used to think. I'm teaching you how to make yarn on a chopstick. If you wanted to know what I was doing when we were talking, I just broke that on purpose because I want to join. And I was just seeing how strong it was, which obviously was strong enough not to come apart, but it did not withstand how strong my hands. You guys, I have really strong hands. So there's a thing called the Spiels. I can't, let me look at the name of it. I teach this at Stitches when I'm doing the what, when, how, and where of yarn, but I cannot remember what the hell's the name of it. God darn it, you guys. I hate when I'm so unorganized. I love my husband for doing that. I'm going to restart it. Okay, hang on. Wait, did it just go? I thought I stopped it. Did it go back? Hang on. Yeah, it is. We're fine now. I don't know what happened. It's probably like the neighbors stealing my internet. Anyway, so you have to then you roll it on, and then you just have to refresh. And you draft carefully. And then once you draft it, You're like, we're done now. We're not interested anymore. There. And then once you twist it, you roll it on. I'm telling you, you can make yarn really easy this way. You just have to get the whole, movement down. And then if you had a big piece of top, you wrap it around your wrist like this so it doesn't get in the way. So it doesn't hang in the way. Okay, once again. So you wrap it on your wrist like that. Like if it was really long. And then you can just wrap it around your arm right there. I'm telling you, this is a great cheap way. I mean, my God. I mean, everybody should be able to make yarn. Then you can make your own yarn to make this hat. Is that so cool? Taught you something. Okay, so anyway, you just have to refresh because we had buffering. Okay, a Sperlitzer. That's right. Miss Dahlia notes you are clear and smooth. She's so funny. Yay, back. Okay, then video and audio looks fine. Okay, you are. Okay, you're back. Okay, good. And then Allison's like another iPad hooked up to your line. I have the one person. You guys, that's the hard thing about having Airbnb too, because when I'm doing a feed, I can't have them like downloading or anything, but I can't say you can't do it. I don't think my husband here to bring me a beer. Can't he just know telepathically that this Perrier is not from recently? It probably has like pond scum in it, pollywogs. Anyway, you guys, I'm dead serious. Like, so I dyed yarn today and I sucked. I didn't like the colorway that I did. Doesn't matter. Because yarn monkeys say, make 30% shitty because not everybody's going to have your aesthetic, right? So I'm going to pretend that today was my 30% shitty. But I did make some pretty amazing yarns. Let me show you. Oh, I didn't get to the Arthur part. The Arthur part. So I don't know how much you can see. So like this belt here, he told Jenny to wear her belts up here. And actually, well, I'm really short-waisted, so it looks stupid. But actually, if you're wearing something balloony, it looks way better to wear your belts up here. Like right under your boobs. I didn't believe her. I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And then I was wearing like this, it's kind of like, I guess it's silk, but it's like silk and linen, and it's this, it's like, I want to say it's like a muumuu kind of. That's what it would be if you didn't put a belt on it. When you put a belt on it, it's very chic. It's like steel gray. And she's like, put a belt, like I put one here, and I don't have a very small waist. Stop, I don't. I really don't. Then I put it up here, and it looked amazing. I didn't know that. So she taught me something. Well, actually, I guess default, her friend did, Arthur. Okay, he was a flight attendant, and then he worked for Prada. And then he wanted to know all the brands of all my shoes, and I loved telling him. Because I didn't, some of them, because I'm not up on everything, I just, had bought some shoes. Obviously, like Christian Louboutin, and those ones I know, but, some ones like Giuseppe Zanotti, and there are just a few brands that I have. You guys are like, we don't give a shit. God darn it, stop it. Let me talk. Let a girl, talk about shoes. Okay, so this is a fade. So I put it on the teaser, but so I did a fade because the girls wanted me to do a fade. So they are so beautiful, you guys. You're like, really? Because we hate those colors. No. If you saw them in real life, you guys, so the fade, you guys all know what a fade is. But it's not just the way it's dyed, but then you knit it as a fade. Right? You guys will have to look it up because I can't explain it right now because I just want to show you the yarn because I did a really, really, really good job. And they're beautiful. They're beautiful. So this one is one of the ones that see, this is a speckled, but it's like, but it was dyed around. It's awesome. This I love. I love this one. And this is a speckled one. And I know you guys don't probably know this. This might look optically green. So you know that there's optical color where it looks like a color because it's optical blending. It blends when you're looking at it, but if you really look at it, it's not that color. But because it does have a little bit of green in it, it has yellow, it has golden yellow in it, and blue in it, it looks green. But actually, it's more blue than green. Isn't that interesting? You guys are like, not really. We don't care. But it looks also amazing because it's superwash, and superwash picks up dye. Incredible. Just know that. And then when you go to dye something that's not superwash, you go, that looks like shit. This is not superwash, but this actually doesn't look bad. So this is another fade, and this is the cashmere. This is cashmere and alpaca, which is hard to dye. Why? Because alpaca, first of all, it's not superwash, so it's not tolerant of having any changes of temperature. And because alpaca has these little tiny hairs that come off. Do you see? I know I would hold it up to you, but I'm afraid it's going to be out of focus. But you can see little hairs. Those little hairs felt together. So when you look at a yarn and you see a bunch of hair coming off of it, no, it's going to want to felt when you're dyeing it. So, and then these deep colors require heat. Otherwise, they won't be color fast. So sometimes if you buy yarn and it's crocking, so it's the colors coming off in your hands, and it's a really deep color, it's because if it's a hand dyed yarn, the dyer knew, if it's not superwash, that this is going to be a felting nightmare, and I can't bring it to the temperature that it needs necessarily to get it to be super color fast. Crocking should never happen though. It should never happen. So this is like a fade. So this is a set of this cashmere and silk, and it's actually really pretty. It's really pretty. Although I'm not a purple person. Not gonna lie, I'm not a purple person. You're like, it looks really ugly when you hold it like that, probably, but I'm gonna put a picture of it online because I'm trying to dye a bunch of yarns. We're gonna have another sale. I'm gonna sell all of these yarns. I'm gonna sell a bunch of fades, and I'm just kind of, because the girls are telling me to do it. And then I made, why am I showing this? Because I just am. So I did a really hard colorway in class. This is still wet. On this boa, it was, and you guys, there was so much dye in the pot, it looked like a muddy, horrible mess, and it really did. I'm sure that they thought that I am the biggest hack, and it turned out it is so good. It's so deep and so purple and so like this golden yellow. I'm just showing you because this was really hard to do. It's a very hard colorway. It's called Artist, and I named it after a lady that is that I love, that was a customer and a client for a really long time, and I used, it was like 3 pounds fiber, at least, maybe almost 4, but it's still super wet. But to get the purple and the green right next to each other and the orange, and because there was so much fiber, there was so much dye in this pot. It was, you guys, because a lot of people try to, it's fake news, by the way, tell you that it has to be clear. The water has to be clear in the pot before you stop. That's the stupidest, it's not true. It's scientifically unsound, by the way. It's scientifically unsound. Anyway. So why am I showing that? I don't know. Because I felt like it. Because I felt like standing up and showing you my belt. My belt's from Goodwill. It was $3.50. Unless it was on Tuesday, then it was. I got senior citizen discount. Okay, let me see. Sperlitzer, I'm so glad you said that. And let's see. I'm listening. Okay, Stephanie, the wrap and the steam. Steaming sometimes felts it because the wrapping and the steam, I'm telling you, especially with, I'm telling you, like it's almost, it's like not in the microwave, in that you can, but a lot of the time what I do is I go back over it because I want it to be really even a lot of the time, all the time. I go back over, everything of mine is layered. And so it makes it really hard because obviously it's going to be cooling down and you're heating it back up. And that's the challenge. That is the challenge. And because, especially you've got the ties in there, and because the fiber, the ties are a hard thing. You have to have the ties because you can't have 400 yards of yarn or 240 yards of yarn that, is not, it doesn't have figure 8 knots in it. So figure 8, you guys, for those of you who don't know, I'll show you. They're to stop it from, being a complete entangled mess. So, and I put more than the figure 8. I also put other ties in here, but these figure 8 knots, or yarn right here, these figure 8 things, they're figure 8s. So that the skein, it doesn't become all like, because I can tell you, even with figure 8s on, like I've hooked these on my boots, like on these things, like I've shaken it like this and then pulled up, and it's hung up on my boot as I pulled. And if it's like a 400 yard skein of yarn, it could take 3 hours to undo. It's a freaking nightmare, especially if it's like fingering weight. But anyway, so these figure 8 knots, especially on something that has the hairs, these because I'm moving them to make sure that there's never a line. There's never any like lack of color in these. But still, on something that's high felting, right there, one felt. I actually made this one. This is a glazed yarn. You guys are like, we really don't. It's probably really hard to see, but I have a picture of it that's really good. This is glazed and it has so many different colors, and it's actually the yak and the silk, and it should have felted, because glaze is a technique. It's an overdying. It's overdying, and it had to be overdyed a bunch of times, and I was able to completely not felt it. So it's got green, and it looks really degraded on this. It's a lot brighter and pretty, but it's got like green and blue underneath the purple that you can see. It's really, and it's so soft. It's like next to stick and soft. You're like, moving on, moving on. I'm sorry. Let me look. I got to see what you guys are saying. Let's see. And then Stephanie saying, yes, that happens. You really have to saturate before steaming. That's true. But I don't believe, Stephanie, so you and I could have a philosophical conversation about this, but I don't believe, what I believe is that it's like painting a wall. You can't paint a wall completely saturated at once. You have to let it dry. Yes, you don't have to let dye dry, but it has to strike. So it's layers of dye, right? So it depends on the depth, the saturation level that you want, but to make them even, it's kind of, even though one's pigment and one's translucent. So for those of you who don't know, paints are pigments, and dyes are, dyes like, not dyes, but like printer ink is a pigment. These aren't true pigments, these dyes, and they're translucent. And so because they're translucent, you do have to layer them. And to get the depth, to get really, full saturation and full depth, and I rarely ever use one dye, even if it's this looks like golden yellow, but it has other colors in it, because I want to make up for the places, in the cortex where it doesn't strike, where it can't take enough, and I want it to be super rich, and it just requires, that's part of my thing, is that, and I have to have everything even and completely saturated. I mean, of course, there's some techniques that you don't, but for the most part, if it's supposed to be solid in that area, then it needs to be even, in my opinion. And to get evenness, especially if you've bound, so binding, so like if we're going to dye across or around, especially as you get to the ties where it's tight, there's going to be a lack of saturation. And there's going to be capillary action where you have to, and it's inevitable that you're going to have to steam and add and steam. I mean, it would be great. I'd say, is there ever, and especially a lot of the dyes, especially the ones that I really like, the fluorescent ones, they just, by nature, they just are not, they don't like to strike, and they like to have a lot of residual, and they like high heat. They do like high heat, and those are the ones that are tough, especially with something that isn't superwash. And then Stephanie's saying, yes, true. Of course I had to read that, Stephanie, because I like to be right. No, but it is true. I mean, I know we could have a discussion like you, it sounds like and that's the thing, is that there are, and I do steam my yarn. But, and people don't realize this, but if you don't have superwash, steaming your yarn, and if you're cold outside, you can steam it. And if you're working outside, like my steamers are outside, if it's freezing in the morning, I'm not steaming and taking it out of the steamer, because just that can felt those, especially those hairy fibers. I mean, you can, just the very fact that you have now removed them from the bag and they are exposed to that air. It's really the ones that are high felting, which alpaca and mohair is another one. Mohair is, like I was saying last week, or maybe I was saying to my class, that Polworth and mohair, that Polworth mohair silk yarn, I mean, you couldn't look at it without it felting. It was, and you know what? It was on sale, and they had like 200 kilos of it. That tells you something. And then, well, people seem to like the yarn. That makes me happy, because I don't want you guys to hate it. And Stephanie says she loves the orange. And then it's actually, so since it's actually brilliant orange and a tiny bit of fuchsia with golden yellow. So but I tried to keep it golden yellow. I just wanted it to be a little richer, get a little richer. And Sandy Flash was saying the glaze is the bomb. Okay, thank you. And do I have a newsletter? Andrea, I have a newsletter. Do I have a I'm supposed to. Okay, what I do is if you go to Ready Method, you can sign up for the newsletter, which technically isn't really a newsletter. What I do is I let you know when I'm having like a sale, or when if I can. It's like, you guys, I want to say, yesterday I wanted to go and visit a friend because I don't do things like that. But then I was like, okay, well, I can come as soon as I finish. I wanted to go work out. I was like, I could come and like maybe have a coffee or something. And then I realized, okay, the Airbnb's left. I have to do those, and then I have to do the laundry, and then so I'm doing the laundry, and then I was like I deck brushed my entire downstairs floor, and then I had to iron the laundry from the Airbnbs, and then I had to make them, and then I had to feed the animals, and there were like a few other things that I had to do that were, I had to pack packages. I had to write some letters. By the time it was like 6:30 at night, I couldn't even have a coffee with a friend. So like putting even like the newsletter, I want to like let people know ahead of time that I'm having, Yarnitarian, and I didn't even do that today. I didn't even put it on Instagram because it seems like, well, you could take 3 minutes or 4 minutes. I also have to urinate. So could I use the 3 minutes for that? No, I'm sorry. Seriously, that's what it feels like. And then I love this. I said to my son, I said, Connery, how about if because I told you he has bipolar disorder, and he likes to busk, so he likes to go and play music, and of course he does. I call that masturbating, quite frankly. I don't consider that a job, even though he makes money at it. And it's slightly humiliating for me because I feel like it's begging, which I know I'm saying that's my own bias, but I'm proud of him for even making money, right? For even doing anything. But I said, and he actually is really a great cleaner. When he actually is a hard worker, he can work really well. And I said, why don't you, I said, you know what, do you want me to pay you to clean the Airbnbs, and you'll make the money, the cleaning fees? Because in the end, I shouldn't be doing it anyway because I don't have enough time. So really, and now they're like yesterday I got 7 bookings, and today I've gotten like 3, and they're filling up, as summer starts to come. And he goes, I don't know why I'm feeling irritated right now, which of course made me want to say, I know why I'm feeling irritated right now, because you're a lazy asshole. That's what I wanted to say, but I didn't. I said, well, maybe you need to go think about that. So then later on he comes and he goes, you know what, Mom? You guys are just going to die. He goes, I'll do that favor for you. Okay, a favor would be he does it for free. I'm paying him. And I actually just said, that's not the relationship that I'm looking for. I was trying to offer that to you before I called somebody, because they have agencies that do this and they're going to make the money. So I was just trying, since you're here a lot of the time, I was trying to, you're going to make, I don't know, $50 or $60 an hour, right? If you actually put your nose to the grindstone and you actually do the work. I said, I don't want to have a relationship where you're doing me a favor, but I'm paying you. No, that's not the way it's going to work. I mean, kids nowadays. I actually got really irritated. Anyway, moving on. Okay. And then Miss Shelley saying she's been playing with Knit Picks, yarn called Wonder Fluff, and it's alpaca and merino fibers that are blown into a nylon tube. It's been a nightmare because dyeing it's painstaking. I'm just going to say something. The second you stuff alpaca in something, get ready, because maybe it's going to want to fail. The second you stick mower in something, maybe it's going to want to fail. That's why I actually was really proud of myself on this one. What did I say again? It was silk, cashmere, and... what the hell is it? Silk, cashmere, and alpaca. No, yes. Yes, it's got the hair. You guys are like... but yeah, it's not felt. And Stephanie knows this too, and I'm sure most of you do know. The way you really know is like right by the ties, when it doesn't like pull apart like readily, And it's, I mean, they just don't tolerate very much. They do not tolerate. So like a lot of the techniques, you have to end up doing only on superwash. There's like some glazing things that you can't. I don't know how this yak made it through it. I mean, I was careful, and I think that steaming in the microwave is always wrong. Is always bad, because I think it hits too hot too fast. I think steaming definitely in the steamer, and I have steamers that are they're electric steamers. Of course, you could use a vegetable steamer, but I use the electric steamers. I have one that was like $170. Thankfully, that broke, but Roberta, her husband, does stuff with electrical stuff, and my friend Roberta and her husband fixed it for me. And then Diana's saying her son can be the same way. I just wanted to like pound his prune. And then Bianca said, some others in the animal kingdom eat their young. I don't really want to eat him. I'm going to tell you, oh my God, you guys, he wears like Axe or something deodorant, and whatever he wears, it's not enough. He cannot wash his clothes with any of our clothes, because our clothes will be completely infected. It's like they say, if you go to a swine unit, your clothes will have to be completely destroyed because you'll never get the smell out. That's what they say in pig production when I was at Cal Poly. That's the way I feel about his stuff. But anyway, so the other day it's in the morning. I hadn't taken a shower yet, and I had shorts on and an Abercrombie and Fitch sweater. And then I had my big polar jacket, like this big, like Abercrombie jacket on. It was really heavy. But I'm like dying and doing this stuff. And so my sleeves got really wet. The sweater got really wet, and the sleeves of the jacket got really wet. And I was in the middle of doing this, and I just wanted to, there was in the laundry room, I saw a t-shirt that looked like it would fit me. And I thought it was maybe Dane's, who's my 15-year-old son. So I ripped off my shirt, and I threw on this other shirt and then I put my jacket on. And as I put the jacket on, the air wafted up and, oh my God, it was I was like, now I have to take a shower in the middle of dying because it's on me. I am now infected. It was his shirt, and it was on my skin. It was so disgusting, and the shirt was clean. And I put, have you guys ever smelled Fabuloso? It's like, Fabuloso is this like lavender smelling, like nothing, there's nothing that Fabuloso cannot cover up. Fabuloso can cover up anything. I dumped Fabuloso in his washing machine like it's bleach. That and Fabuloso, I'm not kidding you. If you guys know Fabuloso, you know I'm not kidding. Like, that smell is so strong. Anyway, but it can't kill Connery's stench. Liz says, a friend gave me 8 garbage bags full of alpaca fleece. She's felting it for years. Well, I mean, alpaca fleece is a little bit different because it's still felting. It's a little bit different because you can do time. Yeah, like long time, lower heat, so low and slow. And you can, with yarn, that's a little bit harder. You can do low and slow, but at the end, you still have to, make sure that it's reached temperature, or because you want to make sure that it's not going to be crocking. So, you definitely want to, but the fact of the matter is this: all fibers, the idea that the water's going to be clear is actually a fallacy. I teach all my classes this. You can read scientific, peer-reviewed, scholarly articles about textiles, and these dyes have like a 10 to 15% residual at saturation. So there's always going to be dye left in your pot if you're at saturation, and it's just the way it is. And people always tell you have to have it clear if you want it to be color fast. It's just bullshit. It's not true. These dyes aren't color fast. So go ahead and try and make it color fast. And you may think it's color fast, but of course, if it's not nothing's gonna run if you didn't saturate it. If it doesn't, it's not the actual swatch. If you didn't bring it to the actual swatch, then okay. If I make a scarlet jewel tone, a pastel pink, okay, maybe my water will be clear, but it's not the scarlet jewel tone. I didn't bring it to saturation. This is one of the things I just drill into my students' head. It's like it's very easy to undersaturate. It's very easy to not paint a wall well, but it's very hard to paint it perfectly, especially if like the underneath of it is black and you want to make it white. Like, it just makes sense, right? Yeah, I know. And then Stephanie's saying the laundry's too funny, that her son's the same way. Thanks for the laugh. She's dying laughing. Okay. I love that she says dying laughing, but she spells it dying. She's a true dyer. I do the same thing. Dying, like actual leaving this earth, is always going to be with an E on the end. D-Y-E. I-N-G. And then Louise, I need to take your ass. Yes, you do. I mean, I'm telling you, it's actually really good, and it's not bullshit. It's not lies. It's not lies. It's real. It's real, and it's not, I'm not trying to bullshit people. Some people think, what could you possibly know that I don't know? Which is the most ignorant thing to say. Of course people know things. There's so much shit that people, I mean, we're constantly learning. Constantly. I mean, it's ludicrous to think that somebody could not have anything to offer you. And I do a lot of reading of scholarly articles to find out what the textile industry knows, because that's how I started this, is that I kept seeing things that I knew were real, but they were against all of the common information that I'd heard or read before. Everything was wrong, but no one would admit it. But everything I'm seeing is different. And so then I just started on this quest to find out the real truth. And there is plenty of information out there that is the truth. For some reason, our industry chooses to not want to read it. They want to just say ignorant things and spread disinformation. And then they feel really, they actually feel they get secondary gain. People get second, because everybody, I even said, I like to be right. I like to be right, but but what people like will, and what they want to do is that it's propaganda, is that they'll say something that'll make you fearful or like you're stupid, and then they'll tell you how to not be stupid. And so then you want to follow what they say because they sound like an authority figure. Say it with authority and people will believe you. And okay, and then Bien says next class series, because obviously you have a ton of open time, tons. And then Sherilyn says Natalie's method is groundbreaking, so unique, and it actually, but it's like, but it's not. The thing is that there's plenty of people that have never taken my classes that are amazing dyers, because they intuitively. It's just like me before I actually knew the reasons why, because I did a lot of research. There are people that, just like me, I knew it, I just didn't know how to explain why it was real, what the facts, the science behind it was. But now I can explain what the science is behind it and why it is the way that it is. Before, I just knew it intuitively, right? And like, some people get very threatened, and so they'll be like, she just thinks she knows everything and she thinks she invented dyeing, which is so ridiculous. Like, I think I invented dyeing? What? Like, how do we go there? No, I don't. I think I invented a methodology that helps people. I mean, I invented a methodology, like literally there's steps and there's tenets and there's things to help people figure out how to do things. Like, not ruin their shit, right? Like, it's just that simple. The thing, it's really bizarre, and it's also very, I actually don't like the idea of like slut shaming, that kind of thing, and like being against our own sex. Like, I get very offended. I'm not some women's liber. I'm just like, you know what? Like, there's enough anger and hatred in the world. Can't we like actually be happy if somebody has something to offer and we can learn from it? Like, wouldn't that be kind of neat if they're like showing me an alternative way of thinking, or they're validating me? Like, the people that are really experienced, it's validating to them. Like, when I'm telling them things, they aren't going, oh my God, Natalie, you're so smart. They're going, oh my God, I'm so smart because I knew that. I just didn't know why. Like, I'm just like reinforcing in a way that they can express themselves. And so now they won't second guess themselves. Right? It's not like I'm people are just, they get so threatened. It's like, my God, and I don't think I'm that great. Believe me, I'm really down on myself. I'm really hard on myself. And then, Sony is saying, right? Did I say it right? I think I did. We did this last. You're like, Natalie, we did this last week. I know. That was last week, though. Okay. Can you get saturation color fast with slow dyeing? Okay. The answer to that question is this. Time and temperature are they're intertwined. You cannot separate them in these acid dyes. So if our temperature goes down, our time must go up, right? And the problem is that the upper limit for these dyes, acid dyes, wash fast dyes, to strike is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. We can't get past 212 degrees Fahrenheit unless we have pressure. We don't have pressure. We're not putting it in a pressure cooker. You could put it in a pressure cooker if you only wanted one color, but that's not the way that that's not what we do, right? So also these dyes don't have true bonds. they are like more like interactions. They're ionic bonds. They're called bonds, but they're not real bonds. So the idea that they're color fast is actually not real. They aren't color fast. They have good to moderate color fastness. They don't become part of the fiber like the procyon dyes, the cellulose dyes. They become part of the fiber, and these don't. And so when someone says it's not color fast, what does that mean? Does that mean that there's residual so when you rinse it in hot water, like you see a light Kool-Aid color, or it's not color fast? Is it hemorrhaging dye? Because if it's crocking, if it's hemorrhaging dye, if it's you're touching it, and the very fact that you touch it, you get dye in your hands. If it's doing that, that's because the person, whoever the dyer was, I don't care if it was a company or whatever, didn't bring it to a temperature or time or temperature, because you would be surprised at how much dye you can have left over in your water. I mean, like opaque dye, like that you could easily dye another 1/4 pound of fiber with. I mean, like to saturation, pretty much. It would be a dumbed down version of the colors it should be, but you can do that and have complete and utter color fastness. You can. I do it all the time, and my students do it all the time. But there are some dyes that they just have idiosyncrasies where, and there's a whole, I would love to tell you, I'd love to explain to you my theory of why, and I'm right, by the way. But if I do that, my students are going to get mad because they paid for it. And plus we'll be here for another 45 minutes. But anyway, so to answer your question of solar dyeing and being color fast, you can become color fast in solar dyeing, as color fast as the dyes can be. You absolutely can be color fast in solar dyeing if you don't bring your stuff to saturation. To the question of can you be color fast at saturation, meaning like at saturation, as much dye as this fiber can take, of whatever that color is, yes, you can, but only as color fast as that specific dye is, because each one has different properties. Just like every different kind of flour, it's a flour that we bake with is different. It's still a flour, but it behaves differently and has different properties. This is how these dyes are. They have different properties and different molecular weights, different molecular sizes, configured differently, and so they behave differently. Some can be pretty darn color fast, and others will not. Like rhodamine red will not. It will always at saturation, it's always going to have a light Kool-Aid color. It is. Is it going to affect the way it looks? It will not. But if you have somebody who doesn't know and is a dyer and then is like rinsing their stuff in hot water and detergent, which obviously you can't do with a lot of things, like Stephanie would say the same thing. You can't take like Top and Roving and wash it in super hot water and detergent to get the residual dye out. I mean, it's just going to be a felted mess, right? So there's things that you have to know your canvas, you have to know your dyes, and you have to have experience. And those are 3 tenets of Ready method. Those 3 things, it's always, you have to know these things. You have to understand your canvas. You have to understand your dyes, and each dye is different. And the worst part is that we don't know them. We can predict how they're going to behave based on the molecular size, but they don't give us the molecular size. So what we have to do is work backwards. We have to know how certain molecular sizes are going to behave, and then when our dye behaves that way, we can reasonably assume that it's that molecular size. And then I am a mental note taker, which isn't super smart since I'm, at this point not bright anymore. But if I was doing research and I was, then I would put it in a lab book, like what researchers do. So I hope that answered your question. You can get them as color fast as that specific dye can be on that specific fiber. And then Stephanie saying, very interesting, thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you, Stephanie. I really do appreciate that. I mean, I really do, because like especially when someone knows about dyeing, because a lot of the time I can say things sort of, It's slightly incompletely because you don't want to, first of all, okay, let me just give you, you're like, do we have to hear another story? I used to be into step aerobics, like, and I was really good at step aerobics, really good. And so I went into Mendocino when I decided I was visiting my family there. This is when I actually had a family and I was talking to them. And I decided to take a class at this, I don't know, this gym. And so they were doing step aerobics and I was really excited because it's like, I loved it. And so I go, and this teacher is young and really pretty and really fit. And she didn't cue at all. She didn't cue at all. It basically, what she was doing was showing off the entire time. Like, nobody could follow her. I am telling you, like, if she would have taken 2 seconds to look and see that even the most, like, was super experienced. I am like really good at it. And I'm just like, she's not cueing. Like, how there's no way to follow this chick. But she loved it. First of all, because she looked like the only one that could do it, because she was the only one that could do it, because she wasn't giving, we could do it if she gave us the proper cueing. So what happens is, a lot of the time is that people want to talk over people because it makes them look like they must know more. So let's throw in a bunch of scientific jargon that we don't explain, right? And then confuse people and be like, well, it's just because I'm so much smarter than you, right? I like patently reject that and feel like that's such an insecure thing to do. And I try when I'm, in general, if I think that the people that I'm talking to don't know a lot about what I'm talking to, I try to really not say too many things that are going to make them feel uncomfortable or like they don't know, because nobody wants to feel like they don't know, especially when this isn't a class, right? I'm just talking to you guys. So, but when somebody knows, I appreciate it, because it also makes me feel like I'm connecting, and it's validating. And it's validating, and I'm sure for you too, because you also know these things. Whether you know them the way that I'm saying them or whether you just know them intuitively, it doesn't matter, because you just know it's real. And it just feels good to be right. It does feel good to be right, because I'm wrong a lot. At this point, when Kristen says something, I just go, I'm wrong. I'm sure I'm wrong. So I'll just go with what you're saying. A humble owl bee. I like humble owl bee. Owl. I've been dying for years, but I always learn something new when I watch your shows. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I like the name Humble Owl. And then Sony says, thank you. Makes sense now why some colors behave. Yeah, they do. And you can see it. See, that's the thing. So that's the thing, too, is that when I started reading the scholarly articles, I started seeing, okay, the textile industry does not know more than those of us who dye raw wool and fiber, because we dye a multitude of fiber. I mean, we see so many different types of wool. Like, you guys, even in this, I probably have, I don't know, this is just a guess, 60 breeds of wool. And I'm not talking about, because I broker wool. So, I mean, I'm telling you, thousands of pounds of wool here. And so, and I dye multiple wool pots on purpose, because it's very interesting, but I don't as much anymore, because now I know, because I've done it long enough. But you learn so much. You learn so much more. The textile industry, they're using homogenized fibers, and homogenized being, making one. So they're homogenized, they're processed so that they have consistency. We're using fibers that have no consistency. And so we're seeing artifacts that they never get to see. And because we're seeing artifacts that they never get to see, we know so much more. They understand. In the research paper, they'll say things like poorly understood. It's poorly understood because they're missing this component. If they knew what we knew, they'd be able to but they're only dealing with these homogenized fibers. And also the inner structure, even as big as the hair industry is, and wool fibers and hair, human hair are not that different. So, when we're talking about the cortex still at this is not, it's poorly understood the way these acid dyes really are. I mean, we understand the bonds that are happening. So it's van der Waals forces, it's hydrogen bonding and ionic bonding. But why certain ones, and they think it's the ratio of the mesocortex and the endocortex and the paracortex. That's what they think, the orthocortex. The higher the orthocortex is, usually the more crimpy something is, and it has a lot to do with its potential to uptake dye. But even though we know these things, we still don't. It's still poorly understood. Like, we know components, but it's still poorly understood. So, But by these things that they say, we can look at wool and we can feel wool. And with your experience, you can start to predict. Like the second I touch a spongy fleece, I know what's going to happen. I know it's a meat breed. I know it's a meat breed or a down breed, or it's can be classified in that class. It's going to be like, or so some aren't considered, quote unquote meat, but it's acceptable now if even if it's not a down breed. If it's spongy and it has a disorganized crimp, you can put it in the meat breed category. And so something like a Manx Lochten, something like that, or a Black Welsh Mountain, something like that. They're spongy. You just can't. So if you have a cross, someone tells you they're selling you let's say a Lincoln, or let's say a Romney or anything like a long wool, and you get it and it feels spongy and it kind of looks like a bad Romney, but it's spongy. And then you go, this has a meat breed in it. And then you go and look at their website and they also raise Suffolks. And then you're like, I was right. Because every time it's spongy, baby, it's a meat breed. And it doesn't necessarily want to pick up dye very well. So there's these things you just know. Sherilyn pops bubblegum. I like that. Pops bubblegum bubble, baby. And then Stephanie says it's so much more different. It is. I thought it was me until I watched a video about the science of ready method. That's right. That's right, Stephanie. And that is true. You can't. So I talk about this all the time, you guys. I talk about, and when if you're a knitter and you go and you, let's say you buy something that's silk and it's super vibrant, and then you buy merino and it's supposed to be the same color. Like let's say they have a yarn and it's merino and silk, and then you buy one that's just straight merino. And well, it's because one, the silk has luster. Or if you have a nylon and merino, it's going to be really bright. It's going to be very vibrant because nylon picks up dye amazingly well, and merino is matte. So it doesn't have luster. So it's like the difference between a high gloss wall and a matte wall. And I have matte walls in my house of the same exact color as high gloss, and they do not look the same. They do not. And there are just some colors like merino. If I like today, I did a non-superwash. That's part of the reason why I didn't like my work, because I did a non-superwash sport weight. And actually, I'm giving away some of that. I'm giving away 3 hanks of that today in this blog. And I didn't. It was like, it was a cranberry, but it refused to pick up the brightness, and that's probably because it had more than one dye, and one had 2 sulfate molecules in one, and the other one had a single, and so they interfere. And anyway, I couldn't get, and it was really pissing me off because it wasn't the vibrance that I knew I could get it, but it's just the way it is. It's a low luster fiber, and it just doesn't want to. There's just some things it's just not going to take, and you have to accept it, and just you pick a dye that's similar. But like, so note to self on that, I just know it's not going to take that dye. It's not going to take the dye that I used. And I would have to find a similar color in a different manufacturer and see if it takes that one, because it'll probably be a different molecular weight. And that's just what you have to do. You guys are like, she's giving us all of her information for free. Hallelujah. Okay. And Sherilyn's like, lol. Okay, you guys. So my friend, so you guys, please don't be disappointed in me. I did not do my swatches. I actually did my swatches. I did a couple of swatches for my new sweater but I was going to talk about the hat because we're doing that thing. So I'm going to get back on that. But this is the thing. I want to do the swatches for the lizard sweater, and I did do them, but they when you're practicing new stitches, and so you do a swatch of and because I'm such a loose knitter, I do 25 stitches or something, and then it's like with a size aught needle, and then it ends up to be this long, and I'm like, it's not your 4x4 swatch, right? Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I was practicing the loop stitch. I was practicing this bubble stitch, and I was practicing the lizard stitch. But they all looked so shitty that I didn't save them. I ripped them out because what I decided is I needed to do it in color work. I needed to do color work, and to do color work, then I would need to dye the yarn. And so then I didn't want to show you shitty work. I wanted to show it to you so we could get an idea of what his next look is going to be. I'm going to make him either a dragon suit or a sheep costume. So I've narrowed it down to dragon suit or sheep costume, but I have to be able to do the stitch that looks, the one that I said last week, that where you, it's like a scale stitch. They call it a scale stitch, where you do a yarn over, you knit two, and then you pull the yarn over the two knitted ones, so it has like it looks like a scale. That one I really like, but I feel like it needs that one. I tried to dye yarn so that I bound it, and that the yarn over would be a different color. But it's such a short area. It's like that long. So if I had used a big bulky needle, I'd be able to do it, because then big bulky needle, it would probably be like that. Be super easy to bind, but it's really hard to bind that and not have capillary action, pull it under. You're like, you don't care. But anyway, so I'm troubleshooting right now. I'm troubleshooting. But in the meantime, I want to start this. This project, this knit along, this spin along, knit along, and when do you guys think we should do it? Let me look at my calendar. There's nothing on my calendar except when to make my credit card payments, which, believe me, there's a lot. Okay. Let me see. What if we started it on when my Barclays card payments due? I was kidding. Actually, I'm not. What about... Oh, wait. What about... maybe February? Wait, this is the stupidest calendar I've ever seen. I don't even know what day it is in here. February, well, February 1st is Friday. I don't like that. What about maybe the 4th of February? That is when my or the Lunar New Year, the 5th. The 5th. I mean, you guys, but if nobody does it, I'm going to be so frustrated. I am. I'm going to be like, am I the only one? Because I don't even want to knit a hat unless we're doing it together. But you guys, some of you can you can do, I know it sounds stupid, you only need like 40 yards of your own hand spun, and then you can use commercial for the other one. I'm serious. It's a good idea. And then you'll be like, I made this yarn on a chop. Well, I made half the yarn on a chopstick. And it'll be like, and it'll take like 4 hours to knit. I'm telling you. It'll take like 4 hours to knit. I think it's a good idea, you guys. Let's do it. So can put all the stuff up in Reading Method. Reading Method. So it's facebook.com/groups/Reading Method. And that's where it'll all take place. I think it's a good idea. And then any of you who don't crochet, there is a video on how, crochet and don't knit. Please just hit me. What we can do, there is a video on there of how to knit, but there's a gal who is doing her Master Knitters program, and she did one, and maybe we can get her to do another one. I tried to get Jan to do it, my friend Jan, and Jan is she is being grumpy cat, and quite frankly, she's not doing it. And it's making me mad. It hurts my feelings. It doesn't. But anyway, so we'll get someone, so I need to know if the crochet people, so when we post it, I'm going to try to remember to do it. You're like, good luck. I'm going to try to remember to post about it tomorrow, which means I'll probably post about it the next day. You guys, I'm only one woman, and now that the lambs are going to start, and I have 300 blankets that need to be fixed. It says, Abraham, tomorrow morning his son and grandchildren will come there to get your chickens, thank God. Oh my God, you guys, I'm so excited because my meat chickens are ready to go, and Abraham is in Africa. So I say, your chickens are ready, and he writes, and he's, he doesn't write, but because one of his assistants writes, and says he's in Africa and we'll be back for 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh my God, my chickens are going to be the size of a turkey. They won't, but they need, because then you start having to be fryers, right? Meat chickens, you have to slaughter them. I don't slaughter them. Calm down. Not that I haven't, and I don't teach my 4-H children how to do that. But I am like, I would much rather buy my chicken in the grocery store. I really would, than eat my own chickens, which makes no sense. But I don't want to raise something and eat it. I really don't. I don't know why. I'm sorry. It's a fault. But I just don't. I'm just not that big of a... I'm just not. I want beef jerky from the store. I don't want to make my own beef jerky. You're like, jerk. Okay, that word, it just makes me think of sex. You're like, stop it. I haven't said enough sexual things today. It's not because I'm inhibited either. I am very uninhibited. You're like, yeah, we got it. Okay, the 5th. Allison says the 5th. Lunar New Year sounds good. I'm going to spin some chopstick yarn. So good. Okay. Okay. What weight? So, well, I think it should be, well, see, this is hard because I think it should be whatever weight you want. Like, that doesn't make any sense. No, because what if some people want to do like a carded bat and like do more of a smooth yarn? Or what if somebody, I personally like to do, lock spun yarn, but not carded. Like locks, but not carded. I like to spin from the lock, and I don't like to card. If I card it, then I want to make like, art, like things in it, like, like beehives and, I don't know. So I would say mine will probably be lock spun, but you can make a pretty fine yarn lock spun. You guys, if you want to check out some pretty cool shit, look up Cloud Spun Farm, Sharon Chestnut. Sharon Chestnut, CHESTNUTT, Cloud Spun Farm, Angoras. She makes her shawls. These lace shawls are ginormous. She makes them with lock spun mohair, 100% mohair. And people used to say 100% mohair isn't strong. It's the most ludicrous thing. It's like it's just so ignorant. Why do people say that shit? Her yarn, it's lace, it's just, and it's not carded, or it's not, it's from the lock. She makes the most beautiful, and then she knits these beautiful shawls. She only charges like $250 to $300. You guys, the amount of work that goes into them, she's a huge mentor of mine. Sharon Chestnut is one of the reasons why I'm even in this business, and tremendously talented woman, and she's just really humble, and she I think she lives on a commune, that I do know. Like when she came here, I hired her to come here. She's like, well, while I'm gone, they're like moving the outhouse. She's a cool gal. I love her. Her daughter's gorgeous girl that I've known for a really long time. Love these people. But anyway, moving on. Is it the skull hat? Why do you want to do the skull hat? Namaste Farms is non-slaughter. Okay. No. I don't. My animals do get eaten, but not by me. They go to halal, but they never. I'll tell you what. Anybody who raises animals knows this. To ship your animals to ship your animals out. That's the cruel part. Them leaving. It's not cruel for me. It's cruel for them. They want to be where they are with their friends. And it very much alarms them to be in a place with loud noises, and like fencing that isn't solid. And it's very scary for them because they're prey animals, that they're fearful. And so I have someone come here, and when it's time for them to go to the Rainbow Bridge, so to speak, in somebody's tummy. And I don't have meat animals, but you can't keep all those boys. We know boys deserve it. Anyway, I have someone who comes here and I love Ibrahim. I love him, and he brings his family, his entire family, and they do a lot of charitable stuff for their community. And my animals, they don't let any animals see them getting slaughtered, and they slaughter right here. And so the animals just think, oh, we're going over to a new pen. Yeah, so because you can't keep them all. Especially, I feed 1,000 pounds of food a day, you guys. And that doesn't include my own. Okay, I'm happy you need to happen, not happy with skulls. We're not doing skulls. Unless you want to do it, I'll teach people. I want to do just a hat. Because a lot of this is part of the thing. I think not wanting to slaughter and eat your own chicks is admirable. I can't. I just can't. And I love chicken. So what I think we should do, let's do this. I think we should knit a hat. That's, because a lot of people that crochet don't know how to knit. So that was why, because I want to do the sweater. You guys are like, the Agawa sweater that you ripped out 13 times. Yes, I do remember I said 13 because it was 13. I am doing that sweater. But yeah, they wanted to do it, but they're like, can't we do a hat first? So I agreed that let's do a hat first. And the people that crocheting is way bigger than knitting. I didn't know that. Benjamin Levisay told me. So anyhow, what we can do is we're going to do this with the kitchen sink, or if you have just a bunch of fiber at your place, just grab locks. And I'll do a live stream. For people, it doesn't matter. Like, if you want to buy a scrap box, then you can. If not, it doesn't matter. You can still be part of the live stream and part of the whole thing. And then just a simple way to dye yarn. I'll just teach you guys a simple. I'm so like committing myself to shit that I'm getting nervous about right now. I'm like, are you really committing yourself to this? Yes, I am. I'm going to commit myself to just, teaching a quick and dirty way to do, a bowl. I think it should be fairly like, size 6 needles, something like that, somewhere in there. For me, it would be probably a 6 because I'm such a loose knitter. But let's see. Maybe a little bit bulkier. I mean, maybe it could even be a 10. Malabrigo, if you want to just buy yarn, Malabrigo is a great yarn to buy, a solid Malabrigo, and that can be with a 10. I think usually a 10, something like that. Anyway, and we'll talk about it. And then what we can do, it's so that you guys, hats are so easy, like you don't need a pattern. Like literally you because they're so forgiving. You like I literally cast on, I just kind of roundabout, I start looking at it as I'm casting on. I do. You're like, really? You look at it? Yeah, I do. I know I'm special that way. But no, I like to look at it because I knit, obviously we're knitting in the round, right? We're knitting in the round. And I sort of like look at it, and if you've knit enough hats, you can pretty much tell if that's going to fit or not. And so I don't ever use a pattern. And after 4 inches, usually, I'll start my decreases. 4 or 5 inches, I'll start decreasing. And so we can talk about all that. It's going to be easy peasy. Nobody has to buy a pattern. We can just do it. Like we don't have to make it complicated. This is not calculus, and it's not accounting. It's a simple hat that's going to take like 4 hours. I think we can all do it. And I'm committing to it. I really am. And we're going to start on the 5th. What part are we starting on the 5th? We're going to start the part, I think we should start the part where if people want to do, like we should live stream together. Like I'll live stream about making the yarn, either, just go over this thing again. Oh, and I'll do a lock, how I would make, how I am, because I'm going to do that too. How I'm going to make my yarn. A couple of different ways. You'll have to remind me because I'm going to forget. But one would be with a plying thread that's super bulky, so you could use like a really big needle. And then one that's just from the lock, like what Sharon Chestnut does. Maybe I better write this down. I better write it down because somebody might forget. So I'm brainstorming right now. I'm telling you guys what we're doing. Okay? It's going to be so easy. And you know what? It's going to be super good because it's going to be something we do together as a team. Okay? And it's going to be, I'm going to tell you again, it's going to be on Reading Method. Okay, so I'm going to show you 3 ways to make yarn. 3 ways to make yarn. 3 ways to make yarn. 3 ways to yarn. And then one is making it with the chopstick. Okay. 2 is lock spinning, not a lace weight, but a yarn that's not super bulky, like a 6, 7, 8, something that's in there, somewhere in there, 6, 7, something. Lock spinning a yarn that's like, I don't know, DK. That's like a DK, somewhere around there. And then spinning a bulky yarn with a plying thread, like a Lurex plying thread. So what does Lurex plying thread look like? I'm going to show you. I'm not going to show you the thing. I'm going to show you the thing that I was going to show you, the sweater. Oh my God. I'm sorry, my legs got like, I'm stoned up because I'm old. This. I love these threads. It makes amazing, you can't see them now. Stop talking. Jan used to always do that whenever I was like doing something, like if I'm teaching, she'll hold up a sign behind the people saying, stop talking. Lurex. I love these threads. but it makes the yarn look it's really cool. I love Lurex. I love Lurex plied. And I did not expect these to be this small when I bought them. I was looking for Lurex. And then I thought these, you know, because you can imagine if this, you don't see this next to something, this scale. So when I got these, I was like, I thought they were that size. What am I going to do with that? Anyway, and they came from England and they were not cheap. Okay, I think that's good. Sounds, do I have any scrap boxes available right now? I always have scrap boxes, but what I was going to do is I'll put up, we could have the hat done during the vlog. We could. Oh, I think it's saying I'm knitting the Oktoberfest hat enhancement free on Ravelry, super easy. Okay, I'm going to put that in thing. Okay, I'm going to write that. Thank you so much, because I'm writing that down. Okay, it's called Oktoberfest hat. Oh, Susan's saying she made a hat that would fit a giant. That's, you didn't figure that out when you're on the, yeah. Hat, free on Ravelry. Oktoberfest hat, free on Ravelry. Okay. Okay, well that would be good, because then we don't need Ravelry. Okay, and then the thread ply. Okay, I like it because the thread ply makes it look like, it ends up making it look like a, do I have anything? I'm trying to see, do I have any? It just gives it a cool look. It almost looks like a lock, because it gives it this, this curl, like this. It looks cool. I wanted to show you Janice's sweater, but I'm not going to do it this week. I'm going to show you next week. It's so talented, you guys. It's so talented, but because we've been here and I don't want to like belabor them. Oh my God, can you believe it's been here for 2 hours? Is that real or is that fake news? I think it's real. Shit, you guys. Oh my God, I can't believe we've been here so long. Damn it. So I do have scrap boxes. So I haven't put one up in a while, but I'm gonna put up the one. Maybe I'll make the yarn if I can make some yarn tomorrow. You guys, there's so much shit to do. It's just ridiculous. Honestly, what I need is I would like to have a brain transplant. I'm not kidding, because my brain sometimes isn't good. I can't think about how much work I have if I'm depressed, because it just makes me want to just off myself, quite frankly. Trisha's going to listen to this and go, I can't believe you said that. Now people are going to be worried about you. I don't know how to put the clip in the gun, so don't worry. Anyway, you guys are like, please don't joke about those things. No, I will just I haven't had a beer tonight. Maybe that's my problem. But anyhow, so I just have to not think about how much work I have. But this is fun stuff. This is the stuff, you guys, when you're here, do you know how happy I am? I actually can't wait for Tuesday. And I really, there's not a day I usually can't wait for. But this is one because you guys are here and it makes me really happy. It does. It makes me happy. I love interacting with you. And I feel like I have friends. It's really fun. It's really fun for me. And I want you to know that. And how much I appreciate every one of you. And I appreciate when I get new people too. That's a hint. Get people to come. You're like, okay. You're like, if you don't, she's going to kill herself. Stop saying that. That's so weird. Okay, you guys. So I'm going to put it up. Just pay attention to writing method. That's all I can say. And I know there's some people that don't like Facebook. So I'm going to try and do it on Instagram too, because there's some people that just won't. Like Jody, my friend Jody, she hates, and I don't blame her. I've wanted to ditch my account so many times, especially when someone's just an asshole. And it's just not worth it. Life is too short. Why do they have to be assholes out there? Like, why can't people just be nice? Why can't people just be nice? Go, you know what? You're miserable. The person's miserable. Go just ruin your own life. Be miserable on your own. Tuesday nights, my husband is on his own for dinner. I love you, Susie Q. Thank you, Allison. She says she looks forward to it, too. And then Miss Shelley says she totally, counts down. And then bedtime for the kids, and mommy's time thinking about yarn and penises. So good. Well, Deanne, why can't you knit? Deanne, don't start, Deanne. Dang it. You can, no, why don't you learn to knit? Let me just tell you, this is silly. Everybody should learn to knit. It's just silly. It's so easy. It's very frustrating sometimes, I'm not going to lie. But it's really easy, and I just feel like, I mean, if you're going to be a fiber artist, you just should. I think we should just, we should just be able to do it. Okay, let me see. Hi, Phineas. Hi, Phineas Pratt. Thank you so much. I'm new here and really enjoy visiting with you. And I really enjoy visiting with you. Thank you. And Myra, and Myra's going to commit to crocheting. Naughty, you're not going to knit. And Pam is like, right. Oh, and you're doing it. Okay, I'm doing it. And then Allison's doing it too, and she's never knit. Okay. I can't focus and count stitches either, Dean. I can't. No, you don't have to count stitches. You're not counting stitches. Deanne, no. You're not counting stitches. Don't worry. This is going to be peasy peasy. Okay, anybody can do whatever hat they want. We can look into the Oktoberfest hat. I'm going to just do my hat like I'm going to wing it. Like, and I'll tell you guys what I'm doing. I'm going to tell you how many I'll cast on in front of you and show you what I do. For those of you, let me just tell you, knitting does not have to be tedious. It does if you want to have a sweater or something intricate. I mean, you have to pay attention. There is like mindless knitting and mindful knitting. There are things that you have to have your mind on it, and there are things that you don't have to have your mind on it. So like, but let's, we're doing something. We're not going to do something like, cables and baubles. That's not what we're doing. We're doing something that people can just get their feet wet, and like make something that, that they like, hopefully. And if they don't like it, we're going to fix it and make it so that it's better with something. Like, there's things you can do. You can, like, weave in, like, ribbon. There's things you can do. We can fix it. Believe me. And then Christine saying she's down. Christine, don't let me forget. Christine, you know what? Christine's really good at keeping track of shit. Christine, don't let me forget that I have to put something up. Just bug me, okay? No, I have to put something up. Maybe, I'm going to write myself a note. Tomorrow. And we'll pin it to the top of the page, Reading Method. We'll pin a whole thing. I need to pin a thing that what we're doing, and I need to put links to the videos, and then I have to show up for them. That's the hard part. You guys are like laughing. Okay, good. Don't say no, Tian. Come on. Bulky and big needles when I teach knitting. Good job. Hi, Janine. Good. You're into. Okay, you guys are all in. Sherilyn's a great crochet. Sherilyn's like, Sherilyn crocheted like this amazing bathing suit for me. Like, I actually looked at it and I was like, I don't even know how she did it. Like, it was amazing. And it's pretty freaking sexy too, I might add. Okay, guys, I'm going now. I gotta go eat and have some beer. I love you guys. Oh shit, somebody's gonna win the it's three. I might give more. 3 sport weight, and I dyed them today. And I'm gonna tell you that there's one little section. That's one reason I wouldn't sell it. One little section where because I kept trying to make that, and there's a tiny bit of felting. Easy to pull apart, but I'm just letting you know. So don't judge. But it is very pretty. Let me go. Wait, can you guys just hang on and let me go grab it? I don't want to kill myself out there. It's flying on the line. Hang on. I can't see shit, you guys. Okay, hang on. You guys, you like how it's like the hostess is leaving. I'll be right back. I just have to get it off. It's just hanging on the... Do you like that sound? That was really nice for your ears, huh? I have to get my light. Hang on. We're all friends now. I can walk out on you, can't I? I'll be right there. Okay, I'm back. Okay, you guys, you might not like it. Can I make it pretty first? Oh, it smells like, you know what it smells like? It smells like propane in here, baby. Maybe they were onto something. This is the one that I actually like. This is one, and it's like, are these 400 yards? They can't be. They might be. They might be 400 yards. Could they be? I'll have to look it up. So here's one. This one I actually do like. This one is the one I don't like, because see how the dye, it would not pick up this color, and I tried to force it, which means, see how it's stuck together? The rest of it's perfect though. But because I have two 3 skein sections, so 2 people will get something, and they all go together. like a fade, like a 3-color fade, but that one skein isn't perfect. I would like to lie to you and say it was. This is almost dry. I just did it today. I think these are 400 yards. So you have, is that possible? Is it 1,200? Could you have 1,200 yards? That can't be right. But I don't, is that, I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up. It doesn't matter. 2 people are going to get 3. So, I love this one. So you can do a fade. Actually, I thank you for saying they're pretty. This color pisses me off. However, these are all part of the same thing. And so 2 people will win. Who's going to actually do it? Is somebody going to knit these? Or are they not knitters? So don't, if you're not going to knit, just say yes if you will knit. And then I'll just like randomly like, who's going to knit? Pam, do you knit? Pam. Or crochet, I don't care. You can crochet, whatever. I'm looking. Okay. I'm gonna hit Phineas Pratt, and I'm going to hit Christine. I'm giving you something anyway, and then I'm going just like I'm just grabbing little L because of little E. Okay, so little L and Phineas Pratt and you guys, and I'm already giving Christine. I'm giving you something, Christine, because you're so nice. Do you like how I looked away? I wasn't looking away because I didn't believe it. I hate when people do that. They give you a comment. God, you're so beautiful. You're like, so you really believe that, don't you? No, I was looking away because I actually poked my eye with, you know, when you have your eyeliner and you don't, I have the ones that are, you like don't care, Natalie, but the ones you have the, it's the kind like a pencil, and then it has the wood, and I cut my eyelid, and it hurts. Okay, that's what I'm doing, and then Pam does both. Okay, Pam, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to look for you. Okay, I want Pam and Phineas and little L to send me. I looked away again because I looked away. Damn it! Stop judging. Send me your you have to like do it in Messenger or something. You have to send me your or info at wool shampoo, like sheep's wool shampoo. Info at wool shampoo. So Pam, Phineas, little L, and I know Christine. And then you guys, I will promise I'll pick someone next time. You're like, we already know you will. No, this is good though. This is good because I'm giving away a lot. Because what I'm going to give you, Pam, is I'm going to give you some yarn that I made that I didn't make it. You're like, you're a liar. No, that I have, that I just random yarns that I dyed. I'm going to send that to you. And then Phineas and little L are going to get these. Okay, you guys, and don't forget, so little L, said that this one, I felt it a tiny bit right here on this color. So the other ones are perfect though. And same thing for you, Phineas, just so you know. You're like, great, you're giving us disfigured material. No, it's not. It'll be fine. Okay, you guys, I love you. I'm going to see you next week. Please tell people to come and show up, but make sure that they don't mind that I swear and I say the word penis frequently. As frequently as possible, quite frankly. Okay, be there next week and check on Reading Method for the knit along, and I'm going to make sure that everybody has fiber that needs it, and I'm going to make sure that it's reasonably priced. But you're going to get a lot of free tutelage. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Blessings and have a great night. I do mean it.